Yesterday's questions are here included? Okay. What is the difference between mantra and shloka? What is the difference between mantra and shloka? Usually a verse from the Vedas is called mantra. And the verse from other texts such as Bhagavad Gita and many other Sanskrit texts will be called shloka. So mantra is that which is revealed, shloka is that which is composed. In general, this kind of distinction we can make. But at the same time, Upanishad also uses the word shloka for mantra. Tadepyesha shloko bhavati. Meaning that even Upanishad also uses the word shloka in the sense of mantra. But generally, we call the composition in texts other than Vedic as shlokas, and the compositions in the Vedas as mantras usually. Please expand more on samatvam with regard to the pairs of opposites. Samatvam means sameness. Sama means same. Samatvam, the state of mind enjoying sameness. Samatvam. The attitude of sameness towards what does not appear to be same. So says pairs of opposites. In our life, we encounter constantly the pairs of opposites, mutually exclusive entities. Like success and failure, they are mutually exclusive, like the two sides of a coin. They are opposed to each other, meaning that they do not coexist. When success is, failure is not, failure is, success is not. Therefore, they are called pairs of opposites, like the two sides of coin which do not coexist. And usually, this is what our life is made of. Either pleasure or pain, comfort or discomfort, heat or cold, honor or dishonor, success, failure, praise, censure. So we come across one of the two. Either in a situation we feel praised or we feel censure. We feel successful, we feel failure. There may be situations which may not be classified as either of them, but usually what we confront is judged by us. It is not that there is any such thing as success or failure, but we judge a given situation as success or other situation as failure. We judge a given behavior as honor and some other behavior as dishonor. So this honor, dishonor, success, failure, pleasure, pain, comfort, discomfort, all of these are subjective judgment. That's the reason why a given thing can be judged differently by different people. What one person calls pleasant, some other person can call unpleasant. What a person calls as praise, somebody may not think it is praise. Thus, there is no such thing as success and failure. It is a subjective perception or a projection of the mind. I project the idea of success upon a given situation and call it success, and then call myself successful. And on some other situation, I superimpose the idea of failure, I call it failure, and then brand myself as failure. So these are all subjective viewpoints. There is no such event that will be universally called success. There is no any particular treatment or behavior that everybody will call honor or dishonor. Meaning that people will have different opinions. That means that there is no such object called success, no objective thing such as failure. All these pairs of opposites are superimposed by or projected by our own mind. So when we thus realize, this is what we call pairs of opposites, or dvandva. The word in Sanskrit is dvandva, pairs of opposites, mutually exclusive. That in fact they are essentially projections of my mind. When I realize that ideally, when I realize that success and failure both are my personal viewpoint or projection of my mind, then I have freedom not to project. If I think that there is something called success out there, which is a reality, there is not projection from my standpoint. But if I realize that there is no such entity such as success, because the same event is looked upon differently by different people, then I realize that it is my projection. In which case, I have freedom not to project and look upon things as it is. Then what is it? What is as it is? What is as it is? As it is the universe is nothing but the manifestation of Ishvara. So looking upon everything as manifestation of Ishvara. Or you can look upon everything as the grace of Ishvara. The next stage will be manifestation of Ishvara, but to begin with, I can look upon everything as grace of Ishvara. Whatever happens is what is created by Ishvara, and He is the embodiment of grace or benevolence. Therefore, it is benevolence of Ishvara that is manifesting in every event. If that is how I look, that's the way of looking at things. In that case, everything is grace. So this is called samatvam, seeing sameness in apparently different looking things. That whether it is one way or the other, when I look upon both of them as grace of Ishvara, then I look upon them in the same way. So, thus in my mind, I appreciate the sameness which is already existing in the apparently opposite looking things, and that is the grace or prasada. Ishvara's prasada or Ishvara's grace. So this is the graceful acceptance of what is what makes everything equal in my perception. That it is my conviction or understanding, or let us say attitude, before my attitude that what is given by Ishvara. And therefore, I should not judge what He gives is His grace. Because He cannot but shower grace, because He cannot punish anybody, He cannot be cruel to anybody, He cannot be partial to anybody, that is called Ishvara. Therefore, whatever is the grace of Ishvara. That is samatva. Seeing the same thing. This thing is also Ishvara's grace, next also Ishvara's grace, success also Ishvara's grace, failure also Ishvara's grace, honor also is grace, dishonor also is grace. Thus, seeing sameness in apparently different looking things. Everything that comes before me is different, has a different name and form, no doubt about that. And that is the reason why we brand everything as success, failure, good, bad, etc. So rather than branding that way, I can also brand as grace of Ishvara, grace of Ishvara, grace of Ishvara. In that case, I'm looking upon everything in the same way. This is an attitude of sameness of the mind, samatva buddhi. That's what Lord Krishna teaches. Siddhya siddhyoho samabhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Siddhya siddhyo siddhi means success. Asiddhi means failure. Siddhya siddhyoho, in success and failure, samabhutva. May you become even-minded towards success and failure, because even-mindedness is called yoga. So definition of yoga, according to Lord Krishna, is being even-minded. When I'm even-minded, then I'm not disturbed by anything. Otherwise success also will disturb me by creating elation in me. Failure also will affect me by creating depression in me. So when I do not have this sameness, the attitude of sameness, then my mind goes like, jumps up and down like a seesaw. Meaning that my mind is controlled by the events. But if I, on the other hand, change my perception, then everything is grace, grace, grace. That means the mind also maintains the calmness, sameness. So that sameness or calmness or tranquility or even-mindedness is called yoga. That's what a yogi is trying to achieve through all these practices, is even-mindedness. So this is explaining samatvam. Okay? Would one become all-knowing once self-realization is achieved? Because self is everything. So by knowing the self, you as well know everything. This is what is said in the Upanishads. Like in Mundaka Upanishad, the question is, what is it, sir, knowing which everything is as well known? So one of the ways of what we call moksha is knowing everything. So question is, thus when self-realization means knowing the self. Upanishad says that by knowing the self, you as well know everything. Then do I know everything? Meaning that an enlightened person, does he know how many grains of sand there are in the world? Does he know how many stars are there in the sky? Does he know how many drops are there in the ocean? How many hair is on my head? Does he know all this? Not really. Nor is it necessary to know. In essence, he knows everything. So again, where is our pot? So next time a real pot must be there. It looks like
one
a
from
pot.
India, Swamiji, I couldn't find one here.
Oh, we have that. We bring from India.
I'll bring it back.
In Saraswat also. I may have there in Saraswat. Somehow it doesn't create in my mind the idea of pot. So there are two aspects of pot. One is that this is a pot. Who made the pot? When was it made? What is its volume? What is its weight? What is its cost? What is its color? All of these is one aspect of making the pot. The other aspect is pot is clay. Then second pot also is clay. So there are things in every pot that are different from each other. At the same time, there is something that is common to all the parts. So when we say that the wise person is all-knowing, he knows all the parts as clay, that's all. So what's the clay with reference to everything? What's the clay? Just as parts are all made of clay, what is it of which everything is made? The self of Brahman. The wise person sees nothing but as manifestation of Brahman. Just as a pot maker sees all parts as manifestation of clay, so also wise person sees everything manifestation of Brahman or the self. In that sense, he knows everything. He knows in essence everything. not the details of everything. That only Ishvara knows. Ishvara is going, yes, Sarvajna, Sarvavit. So two words are used for the knowledge of Ishvara. Sarvajna, one who knows everything in general. Sarvavit, one who knows everything in particular. So in general, this is clay. In particular, it has this volume, this way, this, all these other particular aspects. But the thing is, so then question was asked, well, why do you then say that he knows this object? He just knows only clay, doesn't know the form and everything else. But then do the forms have any separate existence? Clay is the only self-existing entity in this. Other things are all dependent upon clay. And therefore they don't have the reality. So you know the reality of the part, which is clay. And you'll be satisfied. In fact, the intellect has a desire to know. But even after you know everything else about the part as to what is shaped, still the intellect will not be satisfied unless it knows that this is clay. And when it knows it's clay, it need not know anything else. When I know that you are myself, I need not know what your shape is. What are the details? When you know that the self I am is that self that you are, I'm satisfied. Meaning that other details will not add to that satisfaction. The satisfaction that is generated in me by knowing that you are Brahman or I am Brahman, that you are the self, the satisfaction that is generated in me will not improve by knowing that this is your age and this is your height and this is your weight, because they are all immaterial. They are mithya, meaning that they're incidental. Clay assumes a form which we call part, but the form is incidental. What is incidental? Subject to coming and going. See, clay is one thing, but if there is an ornament made of gold, for example, then you can melt it and you make some other ornament. Some other name and form comes, you melt that, yet other name and form. So names and forms are coming and going, incidental. What is essential is gold. So knowing the essential is what the wise person knows. In that sense, he knows everything, but not in the sense of knowing Swamiji, do you know what's going on in my mind? No. So once somebody asked Swami, Bada Swami Chinmayananda Maharaj, do you know Swami what's going on in my mind? Yeah, I have a problem with my mind. Why should I worry about your mind? I mean, that was his answer, but even the desire to know what is going in the mind goes away. You follow? When you know it is of no consequence at all, then even the desire to know itself goes away. Therefore, desire to know is satisfied by knowing the essential, because it does not leave any craving to know anything else. And it's your pleasure if you want to know something and if you want to study French, okay, you can do that. But that's a luxury, not a necessity. All necessities are gone. In the verse 14, Paranchikhani, the translation is, the self-existence Lord destroyed the sense organs by making them extrovert. That we discussed yesterday. Sense organs are not destroyed, but as good as destroyed. If sense organs were made introvert, then they would have become the means of knowing the self, then that would have been the real purpose, would have been served by them. These fellows, instead of knowing the self, know the non-self. Not only in that, but in their knowledge also attachment and aversion are involved. In that sense, they are depriving me of the self-knowledge. In that sense, it is said that the sense organs are destroyed. Because being extrovert or looking out there, they are depriving me of the knowledge of myself. In that sense, it is said they are destroyed. Now next question, if so, meaning that if this is what the Lord has done by making the sense organs extrovert and so-called destroyed them, if so, what is the role of Sanchita and Prarabdha karma? It's interesting, you know. So, if you say that Lord has created everything, then what is the role of my destiny? Just to give an example, this body is created by Lord. That body, any other body also is created by Lord. But then why is everybody different from everybody else? So there is something sameness in that, in as much as all of these are creation of Ishvara. But what gives them individuality or individual characteristics which distinguish one from the other? Why is your body what it is and why my body is what it is? Your karma versus my karma. So Ishvara is a creator, all right, but then he creates in keeping with the karma. Ishvara is like an architect. Architect builds a house, all right. But does he build the house that he wants to build, or he builds the house that his client wants? So architect builds house, but client also builds house. I want a 3-bedroom house, 6-bedroom house, this, etc. Meaning that the architect is also the creator, but then the client, by his desire or need, also contributes, is also nimitta karana. Similarly, Ishvara creates the sense organs, but my karma also contributes. Therefore, all these sense organs are different from other, but then, meaning that my prarabdha also plays a role in creation, and Ishvara creates like an architect. He creates according to my karma. So he gives this body according to my karma, and another person, other body according to their karma. Meaning that both have their roles. Ishvara is creator, he creates keeping in mind the individual karma. Just as an architect makes the house keeping in mind the needs of his client. You follow? You understand? How our karma also plays its role in creation. Ishvara keeps in mind. He is not indiscriminate. He doesn't give any body to anybody else. No, he gives a specific body to me, which is based on the karma that I have performed. Otherwise, if he gives same thing to everybody, then there will be no justice, no fairness. This fellow has performed miserable karma and still he gets the same body, and I did such wonderful karma, I get the same body, what's the use? Then Ishvara will be called partial or cruel. But he's not partial or cruel because he also takes into account the karma of individual. So Sanchita and Prarabdha, they are not the same. Prarabdha is that part of Sanchita karma which has started bearing the fruit. Sanchita karma is like the, what they call, term deposit. Of that, a particular amount is now mature, and so you get that much. We invested a lot of money, and you get what? The part that has matured. So thus, Sanchita karma is all the karma, of which the prarabdha is that part which has matured, and that becomes the cause for creating this body and this life. So Sanchita and prarabdha have that difference. Both are karma, all right, but then one is fructification of the term deposit, other one is waiting, next birth.
Can I ask a question? It's not my question, but a question came up in my mind that how do you choose? Who chooses which of the Sanchit karmas become the Prarabdha karma in a birth?
The question is, what is Sanchita means? Accumulated. The actions accumulated over a number of lifetime. and they are waiting to mature for giving rise to their effect. So different kinds of seeds are there, of those which are now ready to sprout. Imagine lots of seeds, but all of them, see, every seed has a different kind of nature. That some seeds sprouts easily, some takes a longer time. Even when you sow the seed, some seeds result into fruit, give fruit in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So similarly also, which karma will become prarabdha? Those which are ready to sprout, ready to give their effect, result. What about if or when our pervasive attitude towards ourselves is a lack of self-love? Pervasive attitude. But anyway, our attitude is lack of self-love. I don't like myself. How to remedy this? Like yourself. Unfortunately, liking is not by will. Love, you cannot love by will, it has to happen. So liking also has to happen. So right now I dislike Swamiji, what should I do? You can have an attitude of liking. The attitude can be cultivated by will. That I am going to like my body. Meaning that I will treat my body or look upon my body as though I like it. Fake it till you make it. Meaning that, how will you treat your body if you liked it? How will you look upon yourself if you liked your body? Or like yourself, not body, self. If I like myself, I will respect myself. If I like myself, then I will not complain about myself. I don't blame myself. When I do not like, then a lot of complaints are there about myself, I take the blame for a lot of things. That is called self-dislike. There are people who blame themselves for everything. A tree falls out there, I am responsible. They'll find some connection. I am the cause, family. That's why the tree fell. So this has become a habit. And it is there in varying degree in everybody. This self-dislike is there in one or the other measure in everybody. The one who unconditionally likes oneself is a wise person. When you really discover the beauty of the self, then you cannot but like it. Today, unfortunately, I have mixed up the self with non-self. And that is like eating a chocolate candy with wrapper. And so, therefore, the wrapper is bitter. So also, since I have lumped the self with body, mind, etc., my dislike for the body or the mind results into my dislike for the self. When I say I dislike myself, it is not the Atma that you dislike, but what you think to be Atma. See, I look upon body as a self or mind as a self, and mainly I do not like my mind because it doesn't do what I want it to do, doesn't achieve what I want it to achieve. I have an expectation. And when this poor mind or the body or the intellect or the ego fail to satisfy my expectation, I reject them. I am most critical of myself. Therefore, it's not easy to like me because I am very critical, very demanding of myself. And I demand perfection from myself, and that I can never really exhibit, and therefore it's rare that I will totally like myself. It's only when I discover that perfection is my nature, when I stop mixing up the two things. Atma is always perfect, Anatma is always imperfect. And I am demanding perfection from that which by nature is imperfect. How is it ever going to work? So total self-acceptance will happen only by knowing the self is is an acceptable thing. Until then I have an attitude that even the body also is acceptable. Even if the body look upon itself, I can accept it gracefully. My mind I can accept gracefully. Even though there are limitations in the body, I can still accept it. It's not body's fault that it has limitation. Everything that is created is limited. Therefore, I can accept my body with its limitation, my mind with its limitation. Not make a demand that it should be different from what it is. Gracefully accept what is. It's given to me by Ishvara. They have accepted. Who knows if it was different as you wanted? Who knows that you will like it? You will like it for 5 minutes and then say, no, I didn't want this. So many things we change, isn't it? You buy a car, no, I did not, what shall I say, ask for this. Many things. So it is better that we like what is, because even if Ishvara gives me what I want, there is no certainty that I will necessarily like what I want when it comes to me. Or that I will continue to like for a long time. It may not be, it is the law of diminishing return. I will like it in the beginning, then slowly and slowly the like may wear out. Because now I always place conditions. I like something only when it satisfies my condition. And that is the reason why the liking cannot go on for a long time. What I have to do is to drop the conditions as much as I can. Make my relation unconditional. Then it will be more lasting. More conditions are there, more demands are there, more brittle the relation is likely to be. Less demands are there, more acceptance is there, more lasting it is likely to be. But the reason why I do not love myself is because what is not myself, I have thought to be myself, like body. The poor thing is limited. Like mind, it is limited. That being the case, it cannot always satisfy my expectation. Then I reject it. I fail it. I reject it. And so reminding myself that this is Ishvara's gift to me. And it is the best for me, otherwise Ishvara would not have given me. So what I am given is the best for me. You have to trust him. And that way, gracefully accept my body, my mind, my intellect, everything about me, then the self-dislike will go. Meaning, a resolve to love things as they are. Like things as they are, because that is how they are created and given by Ishvara. What about, or how to balance between what we should do and what we ought to do? What is the difference? What we should do and what we ought to do. Is there a difference?
I mean, want to do.
What we like to do.
Yeah.
What we should do and what we like to do. So, what I like to do and what is right to do. These two choices are there. What is right to do and what I like to do. Very often what is right is not what I like. That's where the conflict comes. Can't we make ourselves miserable by forcing constantly? Don't have to. If there is a commitment that I should do what is right to do, whether I like it or not, then there will be some pain because I am required, because I force myself to do what is right even though I do not like it. When I do not do something, it is not right, even though I like it, I do not do if it is not right, it will cause pain. A commitment to do what is right, I will have to refrain from what I like or do not like and do what is right. Otherwise, by not forcing myself, I will do what I like and I will not do what I do not like. Looks like it's easy. It's not easy. It's all long-term pain. Because this fellow who says, I like this, his likes keep on changing and then they increase in the intensity. And thus, doing what I like is a path of bondage and long-term misery. So it's better to put up with the pain that comes by doing what is right, whether I like it or not. And you know something? When you do what is right, whether you like or not, it may cause pain. At the same time, it causes in you a self-worth. I did something against my will, against my likes and dislikes. So that is a sense of victory. So when we do what is right, we will feel worthy in our own perception. That is a way to like myself. When do I like myself? When I see I am worthy in my own perception of myself. And that is when I do something right. When I know that that is the way. So then I feel that I'm okay. So how to like myself? By a commitment to do what is right. Truth is right. Falsehood is not right. Kindness is right. Cruelty is not right. Forgiving is right. Retaliation, taking revenge is not right. So my mind wants to do that. I want to, Swami, do this. That's not right. Only kindness is right. But I can't be kind to this person who is so cruel. That is their business. So, thus being right means following the right values. So kindness is the value, cruelty is not the value. Although my mind wants to be cruel, wants to take revenge, because that's what I think they deserve. So I have to work against my own mind. Try to control it and make it do what is right. It may not happily do, it may reluctantly do, but still. So we don't make ourselves miserable by forcing doing what is right. It may be short-term misery, but long-term happiness. If human birth is governed by prarabdha, means by destiny, how does purushartha or free will work? So point is, in the human life, is it all governed by destiny or is there free will? This is an eternal question. Prarabdha means destiny. Purushartha means free will. Is there such a thing as free will, Swami? It doesn't look like it. Because I find myself doing something. Something forces me to do, and therefore I find there is no free will. But there is free will. We have the freedom, as I said, to do what is right. That much freedom we can exercise, then it is exercise of free will. I do what I like, it is called controlled by prarabdha. When I do what is right, that is the control of the free will. That's the difference. Any purushartha is my will. What is will? Will to do what is right. That's called purushartha. Why then only some people use the will while others don't? How come we find only few people using the will, other people are not? Because they are all controlled by their impulses. And so when I am controlled by impulses like raga-dvesha, there is no free will. I have relegated my free will to those fellows, raga-dveshas. Since most people are controlled by their impulses, therefore we do not find the exercise of free will, although it is there, but we seem to have relegated that to raga-dveshas. So whenever I act out of raga-dvesha, they control me. When I exercise my will and not being controlled by raga-dvesha, which is doing what is right, so that is when my free will comes into play. When I do what is convenient, it's raga-dveshas that decide. Please review the process of mind purification. Please review the process of mind purification. First of all, let us understand what is impurity of mind. Simply stated, raga and dvesha, or attachment and aversion, is the impurity of mind, which includes all the impulses like anger, greed, jealousy, etc. All of these are impurity of mind. They are reduced into raga and dvesha. So again, whenever I am about to do something, my raga dveshas always want to control me, and they want me to do what is convenient. Then what do? I do what is right, meaning that not submit myself to raga dveshas. So that is the process of purification. If I allow myself to be governed by raga-dveshas, then raga-dveshas become the master, and they only grow like fire when you pour butter in them. On the other hand, if I assert my will and I say I'm going to do what is right, whether convenient or not, then raga-dveshas do not have their hold over me. Then I assert my free will. And that is the process of self-purification, by doing what is right. Simple. By following the basic values of life. By the value of truthfulness, honesty, kindness, which is what I expect from others. I should not do unto others what I do not want them to do to me. And I should do to others what I like them to do to me. I want others to be kind to me. That's what I should be to others. I want them to forgive me, not punish me. That's what I try to do, should try to do others. Meaning, what is the value? The way I wish to be treated by others, then I should attempt to treat others in the same way as I wish to be treated by them. Attempt. It's not easy. It's easy to expect other people. They should be honest, truthful. Look at what's happening in the world, Swami, everywhere. So we are very simple. It's easy to criticize others, but it's difficult to look at my own self as to which category I fall into. Not that we should criticize ourselves, but then we should also be realistic about ourselves and recognize that I also have this, I should get rid of those impulses by doing what is right. That's the process of self-purification. It's called karma yoga. Lord Krishna says, karmanyavadhikaraste, it is your responsibility to do what is right. But what will I get? Not for getting something. Doing right for the sake of doing right. Even doing right also is not because it serves some purpose. Lord Krishna says, do what is right without expectation of any personal reward. Just do right for the sake of doing right. That's called karma yoga. What will I get from that? That is not the consideration at all. You get, you're lucky. Don't get, you're lucky. Ma karma phala heturvu, do not become the author of the karma phala, become author of karma, meaning do what is right. That's the process of self-purification. What is impurity? Which forces me to do what is convenient. And how do I overcome that? By doing what is right. If you need more explanation, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I will believe that I have done I have done justice to the question. As an unattached Atma that we are, please give guidance as to how to remember this freedom during a day and in general daily life. Unattached Atma. What is unattachment? Unattachment means receiving everything as grace of Ishvara. Unattachment means not branding something as favorable or unfavorable. When I brand situation as favorable or unfavorable, that is called attachment and aversion. And do not brand them. Ishvara's grace. So during the day, remember, whatever I confront is grace of Ishvara. And how do I respond? I respond by proper values, by doing what is right. So both ways. What comes to me is received as grace of Ishvara, and what I do is based on my values and attitudes. That's what we have to remember. In every day and generally in life. For a Jnana Yogi who is centered on the self, what parts of Panchakoshas are likely to distract him from his center? Now many people may or may not understand what this means. Panchakosha. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. What is Panchakosha? So-called five sheets. What they mean is that all the various identification notions I have are all classified in 5 categories. Meaning that the kind of notions arising in me on account of identifying the body is one kosha. I'm a man, woman, tall, short, father, mother. All of these notions in me arise on account of identifying the body. It's called Annamaya kosha. Food sheet. Second set of notions arise on account of identifying the prana. Prana means active faculty. Hunger, thirst and stuff like that. Third set of notions about me arise because of identifying the mind, happy, unhappy, etc. The fourth set of notions arise on account of identifying the intellect, successful, failure, right, wrong. And fifth set of notions arise on account of my looking at myself as an experiencer of happiness. Happy I am, ecstatic I am, etc. So these are the 5 classes of notions called the 5 koshas. And depending upon my identification keeps on shifting. Now I'm identified with the body, then with the mind, then the intellect, etc. So each of these fellows distract me. I have to identify them and then work with the identification. took Diksha from a guru who is physically not anymore, took the Diksha, mantra Diksha, continued reciting the mantra which is given by the guru. Do I need to take Diksha from another teacher now that my teacher is no more? If so, what about original mantra? So you need not. If you received a mantra from the Guru, continue. Even the Guru is not physically present, you continue, his grace is always there. So there is no need to take another mantra. You can continue. If you can learn from others, that is always possible. And it's called Vidya Guru. So meaning that you can learn from others. There can be more gurus also than that, as long as it does not create confusion and conflict in your mind. Sometimes gurus can create, one guru says something, another guru says something else, a third guru says something else, etc. Then if it creates confusion, then stick to one. If you are mature enough to see what to take and what to leave, then it's all right. Otherwise, but that is as far as receiving knowledge is concerned. As far as mantra is concerned, continue with whatever your guru gave you. I have been mistaking emotional happiness in samsara with lasting happiness. I have been mistaking. How do I turn this inward to lasting happiness? There's nothing wrong with emotional happiness. As long as happiness is not binding, so long it's all right. Upanishad says, Ishavasya tena tyaktena bunjitaha, may you enjoy everything with detachment. So when you are enjoying something, as long as there is no passion or craving behind that, and you are enjoying with an open mind, so long it's all right. Meaning that there is nothing wrong in enjoying things, as long as it is not done with raga dvesha. If you have the ability to enjoy what comes to you, you need not chase something, but then you can at the same time enjoy what comes to you, then it's quite all right. That is a means to ultimately discover the lasting happiness. As long as I am chasing happiness, I have already decided that happiness is in there and not elsewhere. If I have the attitude that what comes to me is in order, and that I have the freedom of the mind to enjoy what comes to me, then that mind is going to be a means of ultimately enabling you to reach lasting happiness. Do I make myself clear? So nothing wrong with enjoying. Life is meant for enjoyment as long as it's a non-binding enjoyment. Oh, you come to the last one. Okay, good. In cases of psychological problems, how would one strengthen the will to act? In depression and anxiety, the will dissolves into inaction. What happens is how to strengthen the will. But as a person says, in depression or anxiety, the will dissolves. There is no will then to strengthen. As far as the depression or anxiety, etc. is concerned, we should try to understand the cause of it and work with the cause. What causes anxiety, for example? These are all common things for every human being. But uncertainty causes anxiety. In life we do not know what will happen next moment. Meaning we do not know what will happen in the future. So uncertainty of future can cause worries and anxieties as to what will happen. That is because I am not prepared to accept what will happen. I want things that I want to happen. That I already have a condition that these things alone should happen, not other things. That is why I am always anxious whether what I want will happen or not. If I can explain to my mind that mind, be ready to receive what happens. Our Swami used to say that we should teach our children that unpleasantness also is a reality of life. Our unwillingness to face unpleasant is a reason for anxiety. That I am not willing to face the unpleasant. Therefore, every action creates an anxiety because what will be the outcome? Will the outcome be favorable or not? Anxiety. Because I cannot control the outcome. So Lord Krishna says, be ready to gracefully accept the outcome as it comes. Meaning that even when I undertake performance of an action, if I resolve in my mind that I am ready to accept the outcome as it comes, there is no anxiety. Readiness, but how can I accept Swamiji? That's why Ishvara we can bring into our life. That what comes is given by Ishvara. Even the outcome of an action also is given by him. And what gives, we just discussed that whatever Ishvara gives is the prasada. So thus, if I am willing to accept whatever comes to my life, keeping Ishvara in mind, that it is Ishvara who gives, and Ishvara is my well-wisher, therefore he can never hurt me. So even if pain comes, it is not meant to punish me or hurt me, it also may have something to contribute to me. This is a matter of trust. It's called Shraddha. So when I do not know things, then accepting in a certain faith is called Shraddha. I do not know what will come, and I do not know in what manner it is right for me. That also I do not know. It's just an attitude. That what Ishvara gives is right. In what way, I'll discover. So willingness to accept what comes. It's better to tell God give me serenity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. The karma phala I cannot change. Karma or effort I can control, the outcome I cannot control. What I cannot control, be ready to accept gracefully. It's a matter of growing to that point. It's not easy. It is not easy to accept gracefully what is painful. Because basically we want pleasure, happiness. So what is painful is not easy to accept. But we should remind ourselves that bring Ishvara into the life, that he is the giver or karma phaladata, the dispenser of the results of action. So whatever comes before me is the result of some or the other action. And that result is given by Ishvara, my preparedness. So this is the attitude of bhakta or devotee. The extent to which we have faith or trust in the benevolence of Ishvara. Not just in Ishvara, but in the benevolence of Ishvara. To that extent, we will be prepared to accept whatever comes, knowing that in anything that comes, some hidden grace or blessing is involved. Either Ishvara's grace comes as open blessing or blessing in disguise. So what appears unfavorable? Blessing in disguise. What is favorable? Open blessing, manifest blessing. This is an attitude, that's all. Attitude that a devotee has. How do you know Swami is a blessing? We know because Ishvara only can bless, he cannot punish. But he's punishing me, Swamiji. That may be his way of blessing. Sometimes you find your child is going out and you give a slap or something like that. The child may think that, wow, that may not be a good example, but your child is sick and you have to administer medication to him, and bitter medicine. And child says, I hate you, man, but then you push the medicine in the mouth. Because these Ayurvedic medicines are always bitter. And then you have to take this root and that root and mix them and boil them and do that, and then it takes 3 hours to prepare, and the result is extremely bitter. And child knows that this is what mother is going to give. If it runs away, and mother catches hold of him and forces. He doesn't like. But when he grows up, he realizes that that was also for my health. And so whatever bitter comes from Ishvara, in all good faith we accept that it must have something to do. Some disease to remove. All of these are easier said than done, I realize that, but there is no other way. Either we can complain and cry or it's an attitude that we can try to maintain. So that's how anxieties can be dealt with. And when we don't deal with anxiety, it results in depression. Depression is because we did not deal with this anxiety in a proper way, so it builds up into depression. And so, if there is depression, what I recommend as a remedy is perform an act of kindness. You either create a situation or go into a situation where you can perform a simple act of kindness. An act of kindness will make me feel good about myself. Depression is a result of feeling bad about myself, not accepting myself, rejecting myself, condemning myself, because in my perception I am no good. So I should do something so that in my perception I find myself good. That's why I'm doing good things. So the way of overcoming depression is hands-on kindness. Not just giving donation and stuff like that. So, but then you yourself do something. Give a glass of water to a thirsty person. Simple thing as that. There's always some little need everywhere. And you can just, give your place in the line, for example. You give your seat to somebody. Not big deal. But these simple acts of kindness, we should be in lookout for performing acts of kindness, then opportunities will come. And that is a sure medicine for depression. Because depression is because of self-rejection. And when you do this, then there is a self-acceptance. So self-acceptance is medicine for self-rejection. Okay. So that completes our course. Very good. Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana. Hari, repeat. Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana. Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Gopal Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Shri Hari Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Rishikesha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Badrisha Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Hari Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana, Hari Govinda Narayana. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukhabhag Bhaved, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya